Good evening and welcome to the 716 Playbook, where every play counts. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you stay. I hope you enjoy the show, and I hope that I don't scare you away. And if you're a recurring viewer, well, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you enjoy the show as well, and I'm glad that I didn't scare you away. Now, look, I am a little under the weather. I am not too sure why. I'm assuming it's allergies. It's allergy season. So just bear with me a little bit. I'm trying to get back in the groove of things. Last couple days have just been sneezing and coughing a lot. Luckily, I don't feel sick. I don't think I'm actually sick. I just think that I am fighting some allergies because I don't know about you guys, but every single season, as soon as it comes up and it's like end of winter and I know that the weather's changing and I'm like, yeah, pollen's probably going to be blooming soon, I think to myself, I should probably start taking my allergy medication now to get on top of it so my body's ready by allergy season. And then, of course, I don't. And then after about 2 weeks into it, I'm like, wow, I really need to take allergy medication. And it takes for somebody else to actually give me the medication for me to take it. So, but now, hopefully, in the next couple days, my body starts regulating again, and I can get out of this allergy seasonal funk that I'm in. But anyway, you guys don't really care about allergies. You're not here for the allergies. You're not here to learn about why my nasal system just hates me. You're here because you want to learn about Buffalo sports. You want to know what's going on. And, well, if that's the case, or if you just want to come on and support me and watch, I appreciate you being here. Look, there's so much to get into tonight, but before we get into anything, I want to make sure you know where to find us on all of your favorite platforms. We are currently on X, Twitch, TikTok, Threads, and I'm forgetting a bunch of them, YouTube, Instagram. We are on so many different platforms. We're also on Spotify. Every week I keep saying I'm going to add the Spotify logo down below, and then I always forget until this exact moment. Well, I'm going to try to set myself a reminder so that I don't forget for next week. But either way, our episodes are on Spotify. You can find us pretty much everywhere as the 716 Playbook. And on YouTube, we are just 716 Playbook. But yeah, so I appreciate you guys all tuning in on to the show. Let's just get right into it. We have a little bit to talk about. It's probably not going to be your typical hour. Hopefully not. Between me not feeling great and you guys probably having a life as the weather starts to bloom and get nicer, you don't want to be cooped up watching me all night. So with the little daylight that we have left in the day at 7 o'clock, I don't want to take that all up from you guys. So let's get right into it with the Buffalo Bandits. All right. Buffalo Bandits remain number one despite the fall. Despite losing 2 consecutive games, we are still number one. We are tied 11-4. We are finally tied. We're caught up with Saskatchewan. We are 11-4. We have scored more goals. We have 201 goals on the season. We have allowed 3 more than them, though. So if you want to look at like stats overall for goals, we have scored more, but we've also allowed a couple more. So our games are heavily more offensive than their games have been, and that is true. Now, look, we did play on Saturday against Vancouver, and it's the second time in a row, it's 2 games that we lost on a 1 goal. If you don't remember, we played last week as well, and we lost by 1 goal. So 2 weeks in a row. We played in Buffalo, too. It was a sold-out game. Buffalo Bandits are on fire. Of course, yes, we are losing games, but we're still number one. We've already made playoffs, and our fan base is heated up. We're ready for the playoffs. Luckily, they're best out of 3 playoff and scenarios, so I'm not that worried about the overall aspect of the playoffs. Because we are losing a couple games here and there, I'm not that worried about it. We started off the season really very well, and reality is setting in a little bit, and that's okay. Look, the game was good. Buffalo had 4 chances at the end of the game with an empty net on the power play to try to score or try to at least tie it up. And all 4 times we were stopped by Christian Bianco, who is the goalkeeper for Vancouver. 3 weeks ago, Christian Bianco was still holding out prior to a trade deadline move from Calgary to Vancouver. And now look at him. He's sprouting like a young buck, and he is stopping the Bandits from taking on a number 1 seed spot solely. So now we're number 1, sharing it with the Rush. So congratulations, Bianco. You, in the last 3 weeks, have had a lot of growth going on for you. So, it is unfortunate. But, again, I am not worried about the overall presence of this game or what it means for us in the playoffs. I don't think a couple losses define a team, especially when that team is number 1. Dane Smith had 7 points, 1 goal, 6 assists, while McKay added a hat trick and an assist in the loss. But shout out again to Bianco for having 40 saves. That was primarily the whole game right there. It really comes down to we need to shoot the ball better. And that's coming straight out of the words. Those words are coming straight out of the mouth of our head coach, John Tavares. If we win by 1, there's no issue. We lose by 1 or 2, there's a lot of issue. Sometimes you're looking for reasons, you're looking for excuses. It's just put the ball in the net. That solves a lot of problems. That's the most brutal and blunt that our coach has pretty much been all year. I like him. He was an ex-Bandit, so he obviously loves this team, has a lot of love for the city, but he's also real. And I do really admire that, and I do love our head coach. Both teams jumped out to a quick start with 7 goals in the first 7 minutes. Good. If it means that we have to come out strong, even if the other team is scoring 2 with us, good. Last, how many weeks I've been saying we weren't coming out strong. Now we are coming out strong in the beginning. But again, stop letting up deficits. Stop getting into situations where we're down by 5 goals and we have to fight back. If we're going to allow the other team to score, we better score with them and have those answered goals. Because if we don't, we let the game, just completely plow away from us. And when you're in the fourth quarter, the last thing that you want to do is be down by 3 or 4 goals and then have to fight your way back. And you're already at the end of the game. You're exhausted. The last thing you want to do is be pushing that hard to try to just tie the game, not even win the game. That is my biggest critique is we allow these kind of big, massive deficits. Vancouver, they led at half 7-4, and they were just again the better team overall in this game. And I'm going to say that as a Bandits fan, I'll say that in this particular game, Vancouver found a way to win, and they had a nice lead going into the second half. And again, Vancouver was responding to goals. Buffalo was not. Buffalo was trying to catch up. And I'm glad that we caught up to a certain extent, but again, we did not catch up enough to make it count and take the game over. So, again, it was unfortunate, kind of plowing through the game a little bit more. Vancouver is continuously answering the Bandits' runs. So, Bandits have a 4-goal run, and, we have all the momentum now behind us. And Vancouver is still finding ways to stop that momentum. The Bandits went to work with 4 minutes remaining, and they needed 2 goals to tie the game. McKay completed his hat trick, and he still had 3.5 minutes left. So 30 seconds later, bam, we were able to score. We're now within 1. But Bianco held his own. And again, I got to give the kid credit. He stopped final 5 shots, and it allowed for the Warriors team to continue to battle for a playoff spot. The Bandits, meanwhile, still hold the top spot in the league, but we'll have to wait another week to see if we can clinch a home playoff game. And again, right out of the coach's mouth, we are still trying to maintain that first playoff spot. I reminded the guys it's a tough league and there's a lot of parity. It doesn't matter where you are in the standings. It's going to be tough, tight game, and Vancouver showed it tonight. And that is, again, straight out of the head coach's mouth, and he's right. At the end of the day, we were able to still, come across as number 1 in the league, but we are fighting ultimately for that number 1 spot for one reason. It's not just for bragging rights. It's because it benefits us greatly. It allows us in the playoffs to have home field advantage, and we desperately need that on sold-out nights like the Bandits will be continuously giving. The Bandits fans will be continuously giving the Bandits. So, anyway, that is the rough reality that we have. The season is dwindling down. All right, we don't have that many games left. Currently, we have 3 games left. We have 3 games left. We play on Saturday at 7 p.m. It's going to be in Colorado. We play the Mammoth. And the Mammoth are like 6th in the league. They are currently just fighting to keep their playoff spot alive. But again, they're in the middle of the league, and they still have to fight to win, because if they end up losing a game or two, they could not get knocked out of the playoffs. So Colorado is still in a position where they need to fight. Bandits are in a position where we want to fight for the number 1 spot, but we have the playoffs no matter what. So again, there's kind of like a head mentality space there. Obviously, you play to win. The coaching staff has no reason to not want to win. You want to maintain that to get that number 1 spot. But Colorado might just have that upper league when it comes to the mentality of we still need to make sure we get into the playoffs. You are already in the playoffs. But that's just my opinion. I don't think that the Bandits can't win this game. I think we will. But just giving the fans a reality check sometimes that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, especially this close to the end of the season. NLL is a tough league, and there's unfortunately a lot that goes into the teams that are in the middle of the league, kind of sitting at 6 or 7. They're going to fight hard for maintaining the playoff spot that they're in, especially if they haven't clinched the playoffs yet. So, and that's really that goes with any league. If you are in it, then you, of course, are going to fight until the end. That is just the way athletes are. That's what you have to do. That's what you get paid to do. So, and which is a great transition, because that transitions us right into a team that offers no introduction. The Buffalo Sabres. Usually a fire stands for a dumpster fire, but in this case, Buffalo Sabres have won the 4 of their last 5 games. Good. It's a little too late. We are still at 31, 36, and 6. Hey, fight at least for a winning spot. Technically, the Sabres have to lose, and everybody else technically the Sabres have to win out, and then everybody else has to lose in order for us to make the playoffs, which really means that we lose again, or any other teams really win, we end up out of the playoffs. So we have a very weird window right now. I was just doing some research. We're technically not out of it. I know last episode's title was like Sabres are technically now out, like officially. They're not, which is really weird. Very weird. I mean, it's safe to say that they're not going to make it. I don't think they're going to win out the season. And I don't think like the little intricate games that have to be played out the certain way, it's not impossible, but they are on thin ice, literally. Yeah. So very, very weird. I don't really know how to. I'm not really sure how to play that for you guys. Like I don't know how to Yeah, again, technically, mathematically, the Sabres are still in a playoff run. They're not going to make it. So that's just like a reality check for everybody that needs that reality check if you think that the Sabres are going to win it. But the Sabres should still be fighting like they still have a chance, because they technically do. It's just a very weird coincidental chance that they're the only team that kind of is in that position. No other team really is. It's either a very blatant, you might be in it or you might not be. Sabres are like a weird mathematically, you technically could make it, but it's pretty much impossible. So anyway, I at least have to mention that, because I don't want to say that Sabres are out, because that would be false. And that's the last thing I'd want to do, is to give you fake news. So Buffalo Sabres played last Tuesday. They won 3-2 against Ottawa in Buffalo. The victory was rewarding for 2 individuals in specific. Lindy Ruff, for one, earned his 600th win on the Sabres bench, becoming, I guess, behind the Sabres bench, becoming the second NHL head coach to accomplish this. He joins Al Arbor, who won 740 games with the Islanders. So, second most wins for an NHL coach with one team. Thank you, Lindy, for your unwavering support with this team that is garbage. That is pretty cool. Ruff, is a Lindy Ruff is a pretty. I think they're gonna build a statue probably, because at one point in years ago, back when I was in elementary school, I think even before elementary school, that's really sad. Before I was even in elementary school, the Sabres were going on collective playoff runs. They were really great back when Ryan Miller was our goalie, and Lindy was, our head coach. Then Lindy left for a bunch of years and then came back. So Lindy has a lot. I think back since like the 90s, Lindy has been on the Sabres team, and has been giving his unwavering support for the Sabres even when he wasn't on the team. So a lot of love goes out to that guy. With all that being said, Josh Norris, who we acquired from the Senators, played his third game with the team on Tuesday against his own team, or against his own, against his team from before he was traded. So he too emerged from the win with plenty to smile about, having scored the game-tying goal with 7 minutes remaining in the second period. So those two guys had one heck of a night, and shout out to both of them. Sabres then went on to play the Penguins and won 7-3. Don't know where all of this love and energy came out of nowhere. Love for the game and love for each other. They just look so happy playing. Good. We are. It's such a weird it's almost like the Sabres wait until the moment when they really can't make the playoffs anymore, and then they start trying. And they look like they're just having fun out there because there's no pressure. It's just, let's go out there and play, and let's just love this game. So at this point, right after the Penguins game, they were 10-2 in the last 12 home games. That was at this point because there's a couple other games afterwards. But that again, shout out to Rasmus Dahlin and Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch, who are continuously night after night putting in the work that needs to be put in order to win out these games, have electric games, and just have fun doing it. It's really, really exciting to watch this team, at least now. Unfortunately, it's too late, but it's still a lot of fun just watching this team play. Unfortunately, they also played on Saturday, and they lost 7-4 to the Philadelphia Flyers in Philly. It was a matinee on Saturday. The loss snapped a 3-game winning streak for the Sabres, who were without their captain, Rasmus Dahlin, because of an injury, because of an illness. JJ Peterka also had a goal and assist. Ryan McLeod tallied 3 assists, the third of which was the setup for Alex Tuch, who increased his point total to 15 over the last 12 games. Alex Tuch, you are a beast. 15 goals in 12 games. And then just shout out to Luukkonen, who in this game made 25 saves and hasn't started in a couple days. He had a nice little rest for, I would say, about a week and a half, just to kind of rest a little bit. There's some players on this team that are doing solid. Unfortunately, I am not a huge fan of Luukkonen. I don't think he's the worst goalie in the league. I just don't like that we signed him to such a long extension, and we're kind of stuck with him right now. I think that there's other goalies out there, and maybe a goalie is what we should be focusing on in the draft, as we are looking forward to that. Lastly, the Sabres did play the Capitals. They played, I believe that was on Sunday, and they won 8-5. Alex Tuch had 2 goals and an assist as the Buffalo Sabres survived a late push to win 8-5 in Washington. Tuck now scored 2 goals in 3 straight games and has 31 this season, the second highest total of his career. So he is on track to pursue having the most goals in a single season. Again, shout out to Alex Tuck because he is doing everything right. Tage Thompson scored a pair of power play goals, moving into a tie with Tampa Bay's Braden Point for third in the NHL with 38 goals this season. And Jack Quinn, shout out to him, who had a goal and 2 assists for his second consecutive 3-point performance. Ryan McLeod, Sam Lafferty, and Peyton Krebs also added goals. This team was on fire coming off that loss in Philly, and they were doing everything right. James Reimer won his 4th consecutive start in goal with 24 saves. Hey, Sabres, maybe keep James Reimer out there because Luukkonen really isn't doing anything for us, and James Reimer is winning games consecutively. So maybe keep James Reimer out there. There's no point anyway. It's not like you're warming up Luukkonen for the playoffs, so might as well just let him sit out and just kind of sub him in for occasional times. But for the most part, keep James, please, out there. Ovechkin finished the night with 3 points, including his 890th career goal to move within 4 of tying Wayne Gretzky's NHL record. Crazy. Logan Thompson made 15 saves for the Capitals as the Sabres crushed them on an 8-5 blow. The Sabres, who were coming off a loss in Philadelphia on Saturday afternoon, have won 4 of their last 5 games. The stretch started with a win over Winnipeg, the only team ahead of Washington in the NHL standings. So a little shout out to all that. We started this road trip with the win against one of the best teams in the league. We then went on to beat the Penguins. We then went on to beat the Capitals. We're not going to really talk about, and we beat the Senators. We're not going to talk about that Flyers game anymore. All right, looking forward to the future for the Sabres. We have some more games left in the season. We have 9 games left. We are currently playing the Senators right now. We played them in Ottawa, and it's to wrap up our road trip. We are currently up 1-0 with 11 minutes left in the first period. I will make sure, mark my words, I will make sure to tune back into this before, and I will make a little mental note right now to make sure to do a little bit of a reminder for everybody of what the score is, because I am so bad at that, guys, and I am so sorry. Last week, I promised you guys at a live Sabres game that I was going to tell you the score, and then I completely forgot to tell you at the end of the show what the score was, and I didn't realize it until way after. So, fortunately, that was my bad. All right. There's nothing in my cup. I drank all my water. Okay. I have a comment. When will you be attending any Buffalo games soon? When it comes to attending Buffalo games, I have in the works right now a couple of games. So as we move into the playoffs for the Bandits, I will be making a trip to Buffalo to watch at least one playoff game for the Bandits. Depending on how we do in the first couple of games of the playoffs will determine whether or not I'm going to kind of prolong it. But I would like to be there for at least one playoff game. And I would like to be there to watch them clinch the three-peat. But that's all in the works. So I will be going up to Buffalo for that game. On top of that, for the Sabres, I'll probably not make it until next year to watch a Sabres game. I'll try to plan one for when they come to Philly. And then when it comes to the Bills, I have multiple games that I am very excited about to be watching them. The biggest game that I can't wait to be at is the Ravens game. I was there with my brother and my dad and a couple other people this past year, this past season when we lost terrible, probably one of the worst games of the season. Happened to be the game that we were at where we allowed Derrick Henry to run for 88 yards. My dad's friend, who I practically think of as an uncle, he's a big Ravens fan, so he had a lot of joy in his heart getting to bring us to that game. Shout out to Shout out to Uncle Tony. Yeah, so that was a really fun game to be at still. Unfortunately, we lost. I am hoping that we can bring Uncle Tony to Buffalo and show him Orchard Park and kind of give him a little bit of an experience in Buffalo, especially against the Ravens in Buffalo. It's going to be kind of a flipped game for him from the past season. So I'm looking forward to that game. On top of that, I have some, I live in the Philly area, so I have a couple friends who are big Eagles fans. So I will be making sure, because Buffalo plays the Eagles in Buffalo, I'm currently planning some sort of trip to make it up there for the Bills-Eagles game next year, because that would be really exciting to kind of take a trip, get to show a bunch of my buddies where I was born and where I was raised, and on top of that, get to watch Buffalo play 2 times in one season. So I am very excited, obviously, to go watch them play. Thank you for that comment. All right. We are going to move on to great transition. We're going to move on to the Bills now. Before we move into the Bills, I want to move into our food for thought segment. I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a break, but not really, because the food for thought is about the Buffalo Bills. The weirdest NFL fact. All right, we're going to keep doing these because I love them. One of the weirdest things has to be Josh Allen being the number 7 overall pick in the draft 2 years in a row. And you might be, I'm going to let that sink in for a second, because you guys might be thinking, well, how can Josh Allen have been drafted twice? That's not true. Josh Allen was the number 7 overall pick in the draft 2 years in a row. The Bills quarterback in 2018, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars have a linebacker also named Josh Allen in 2019. And shout out to that Josh Allen, because that Josh Allen happened to intercept Josh Allen's throw when the Bills played the Jaguars a couple seasons ago, which is kind of like a crazy thing to think about. Josh Allen intercepted by Josh Allen. A great play by Josh Allen and a horrible play by Josh Allen. Isn't that kind of interesting? So, yes, not only were they both number 7 overall picks back to back 2 years in a row, same name, they happen to play each other in a game, and the Josh Allen ended up picking off the other Josh Allen. So, shout out to that Josh Allen. And I'm going to stop saying Josh Allen. Okay. Buffalo Bills. I am going to touch on this very slightly, real quick for everybody. Stephon Diggs signed with the Patriots for 3 years. I have talked to many people about this, including outside sources, not just Bills fans. Okay, so if you think this is just coming from salty Bills fans, it's not. I don't think this is as great of a pickup as people are making it seem, and I could be wrong. And I'll preface that. He could be the best wide receiver 1. He could be just as good as when he was with Buffalo. I don't think so. I think I'm looking at a 31-year-old wide receiver who is coming off of an ACL tear, who potentially might have to be delayed into next season because of his injury. So he's not going to be able to start with the team in the beginning couple weeks of the season. And he's also out of his prime. He's also now been on 3 teams in the last 2 years. That's a lot for one player. Okay? Not only are you 31 and out of your prime, not only are you getting over an injury, not only are you now going to have to start very late into a season, you just had to learn 3 playbooks back to back to back. That's a lot. You have to remember plays, have to remember routes, have to remember what you're doing, have to remember how teams work, organization, schedules, time, everything. That's a lot. I don't think people put that in perspective. I don't think this is going to be the hallelujah moment that the Patriots wanted. But yet they're shelling out 3 years, $69 million for one guy. We shall see what happens. I could be completely wrong. You can drop your comment and think that I'm wrong. Please do tell me if I'm wrong. But I just have a hard time believing that this is going to be the epic signing that the Patriots needed for their offense. I think this might bring them up. Another thing that Stephon Diggs said in a conference was that Drake May was being compared to Josh Allen. That he hears all this buzz that Drake May is kind of similar, and then he finished it with, "That's my guy." Okay, I think he's talking about Josh Allen. Maybe he doesn't remember how he finished his time in Buffalo, but let me just preface something for you real quick. You can't destroy a locker room the way you did. You can't bring the drama that you did. You can't scream at your own quarterback the way you did, and then leave the team, turn around and say, "I'm happy that he won the MVP, thinks he deserves it," and say, "That's my guy," within 2 months. It's a little hypocritical, because he wasn't really your guy, or at least you weren't acting like it when you were a Buffalo Bill. That's my criticism. The Sabres just scored another goal. They're up 2-0 against the Senators with 8 minutes left. Hallelujah. Let's go, Sabres. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the Stephon Diggs returning. We can now get to play him twice a season. Him and Mac Hollins. Perfect. I think that is a decent wide receiver room. I don't think that is a wide receiver room that's going to make you pass the wild card round in the playoffs. Prove me wrong. All right. Besides that, Josh Palmer said in an interview, "I wanted to be a part of a team that wanted me." That was on his decision to come to Buffalo. I guess he doesn't feel like the Chargers wanted him. That is kind of that kind of goes against what head coach of the Chargers had to say about all that. He said that Josh Palmer is an amazing guy. He called him elite. He said all good things about him. So I'm not really sure if that was just like fluff from the coach, or if Josh Palmer can now say that freely because he is on the Buffalo Bills. But yes, Buffalo Bills saw something in Josh Palmer, and they want to make something out of him. I'm excited to see what they can do with him. He's not that old, so we might be able to groom him into something, at least an outside wide out route runner. So we'll see what happens with Josh Palmer. I'm actually kind of excited, and just like Curtis Samuel, just like Mac Hollins, I refuse to freak out or panic. So, all right. When it comes to all of that, we will now kind of dip into some news. Buffalo Bills have signed a contract extension to cornerback Christian Benford. Christian Benford, the 24-year-old who was drafted in the 6th round in 2022, is one of the most elite cornerbacks in the league. He is top 5 overall in grading, and for cornerbacks, he's top 5 graded. He was a 6th-round pick. Let that sink in for a second. Brandon Beane does his best work as a general manager for the Buffalo Bills in the late rounds. Just something about it. Something about the late rounds. He does really, really well in. Benford is good. He's young, and we just locked him down for the next 4 years. This is a guy who comes to play. I like Benford a lot. I like this extension. A lot of people do. He is young. He is reliable. He is already really, really good. He's top 5 in the league. Yes, he has a couple injuries that are it's a little risky, but he also has had a massive breakout performance, and he's being rewarded for it. Now, this is also a huge thing that I want to preface. These extensions the Buffalo Bills have been doing, we have practically done every extension that we need to except for James Cook, and we'll get to that in a second. And what I mean by that is we have extended every guy who we believe is going to give us the most fruit in the future, the most fruit to harvest in the future. There's a lot of guys out there who might be great fits for the Buffalo Bills for the time being, but we have been giving a lot of extensions to guys who are young, who are breakout stars, and if we can overpay them now, we will underpay them later. And that's the whole point of the extension. If we allow Rousseau or Benford to now go the next 2 years on their contract, they might have just such great seasons that they ask for too much money and we can't keep them. So if we can get ahead of that and we say, hey, we'll give you more money than what you're technically worth now, but what you probably won't be later, you'll benefit from it, and so will we, because we'll be able to afford it in the long run. You'll get to stay in Buffalo, and you'll be locked into a contract. So at least you'll be a part of something. And, that also goes to, it could hurt Buffalo, because if you end up not doing so well, there's no pressure on you, because now you're locked in for 4 years with a great contract. So I think it's a win-win scenario, because it allows for players to not feel the burden of having to run up a stat line in order to keep their spot. But it also allows for the Buffalo Bills to lock down guys that they are investing in that they believe do well. So that's kind of my picture. This is what I see for the extensions, at least. And for the guys that we've extended, I'm very happy. So, again, shout out to Benford. You deserve every single cent that you're worth right now. So, I'm excited to extend him. I've made some comments about his injury in the past. I will not shy away from those comments, but I still am very hopeful and optimistic for the future. And if he can stay healthy, he will, no doubt, in the next 2 seasons, be the number 1 cornerback in the NFL. Benford, prove me right, please. All right. Now, this is the one thing that's kind of on everybody's mind is James Cook going to get the extension that he is looking for? Well, James Cook wants $15 million a year. James Cook has brought this to the spotlight. His representatives, his agents have done the same thing. They are running their mouths and not handling it properly. Keep that type of stuff in closed doors. Brandon Beane kind of said it himself. He does not love how the reps are handling it, but he thinks that Jimbo is a pro. He respects him and loves him to death. And in quote Brandon Beane himself, I'm sure he's going to want to come out and prove that, the value that he and his reps put on him. Hey, let me show you. If we're not there, I'm going to go out here and do it again. Prove us wrong, James Cook, in the next season. Do everything possible and fight for your right to earn $15 million a year. James Cook, I don't think you're necessarily beneath $15 million a year, but the reality is that running backs do not make what they make. Do not make their worth in the NFL. Cap space does not allow for that either. Especially how players are asking for more and more money as years go on. Running backs are underpaid, and I will agree to that. James Cook had 18 touchdowns this season. That's great. He tied with Derrick Henry. He deserves more than $5 million. I would probably say he at least deserves 10, but 15 is too much money for a running back, in my opinion. But either way, he is seeking $15 million. We'll see what ends up happening. If James Cook gets that, he would be ahead of Jonathan Taylor and behind Christian McCaffrey by only a couple $1 million. Again, I don't think that he is beneath it skill-wise, but in the reality of running backs and how much they get paid, it wouldn't make financial sense to do that. So, especially when you have somebody like Ty Johnson, who is a triple threat and can do so many good things on our offense, and you have Ray Davis, an up-and-coming rookie who is fast, quick, and man, is that boy tough. You have some guys like that. Does it make sense to give James Cook all that money? Because between our O-line and our blockers, you can make any decent running back an excellent running back. Maybe not the top running back, but an amazing running back. A running back who puts up stats, who can do the right things, and who can find lanes. As long as that running back can find lanes and our blockers can create lanes, any decent running back will do in that spot. And that's my official opinion. All right, we're going to move on from all that because I don't need to sit here and go on and on and on about James Cook week after week. On top of all that, the Bills did sign another punter. If you don't know, we released veteran Sam Martin, one of our punters. Sam Martin is one of the best punters in the league. He had the most yards averaged in a punt. But also, we didn't utilize him because the Buffalo Bills didn't punt. We're one of the top teams that go for it on a 4th down situation, and we just don't punt. We're not in situations where we need to punt. So, unfortunately, we don't use punters that well. And if we have one of the best punters, he wants money. We don't need to pay a punter $3 million a year if we're only using him maybe once a game. So, if that's the reality that we're in, you just need a body, just somebody. Well, we signed 6th-round pick from Cincinnati Bengals, Brad Robbins. Okay, his career-long punt was 62 yards. He played for Michigan Wolverines. That's all you need to know. He is not a great punter. He's what some people were saying online, probably one of the worst punters in the league. I don't think he's the worst punter in the league. But again, we now have 2 punters on the roster. They'll probably fight for the punter position in training camp. Whoever is the better punter will win. They'll be stuck with the contract that they have for the year, and they probably won't be making more than $1 million because they're a punter, and the Buffalo Bills don't need a punting team. So that is the reality for the punting situation. All right, beyond all of that, a couple other updates. Nothing like too massive really going on for the Buffalo Bills. So we're going to kind of skip ahead. Brandon Beane said that he is not against bringing back Von Miller, but he also said he's not against bringing back Rasul Douglas and Amari Cooper. So that's two big veterans that we could be signing back. Rasul Douglas did post on social media a workout video, and he was in Bills attire. So that kind of like, people think he doesn't usually post those type of videos. People think that he's speculating online that he is working a deal to come back to the Buffalo Bills, probably on a very low veteran minimum contract, just to fill in as a cornerback too. The Buffalo Bills are going to be in a Hallmark movie. The Hallmark movie is going to be surrounded basically around the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be filmed partly in the new stadium. And the agency that Josh Allen signed to a couple weeks ago, called Skydance, happens to be the production company of this Hallmark movie. So I'm assuming that he's going to be in it. And he so happens to be engaged to an actress who probably will be in it too. Maybe the story will be around them. We have no idea yet, but that is something to look forward to. ESPN Bet released odds for the for the total wins in 2025 for the over-under. The Buffalo Bills are sitting in the best spot. We are most likely to have the most wins. I'm hoping that's true, because then we could have the number 1 seed in the AFC. When it comes to all that, we've been looking at a couple different positions in the draft. A couple wide receivers. We've been looking at a kicker because Tyler Bass, I love the kid to death, but he is not reliable. He is kind of flaky. I will give him credit. He did really well in the playoffs this year, and towards the end of the season, he was doing fine, but he's been very shaky at times. He cost us a game to advance against the Chiefs. Not this past season, but 2 seasons ago. So obviously there's still a lot that's surrounding about whether or not we are going to continue to rely on Tyler Bass, or if it's time to get a new kicker. In this offseason, the Bills have now extended overall Christian Benford, Josh Allen, Greg Rousseau, Terrell Bernard, and Khalil Shakir. 5 guys who are crucial to both sides of the ball. Besides all of that, there are a couple NFL news things that we're going to dip into. So without a further ado, we're going to transition back. And we're just going to talk about the NFL for a little bit before we end the stream. So, like I said before, Russell Wilson signed to the Giants. That happened in last week's episode. So if you missed last week's episode, last week while I was actually filming this show, Russell Wilson agreed to a deal with the Giants. Stephon Diggs agreed to a deal with the Patriots. So that's two things to talk about. Those are 2 things that are done. Okay. Besides that, there's not been massive news coming out of the NFL. The last couple days, they've had a couple meetings, though. And in the meetings, they've been talking about some of the rules moving forward. So we're going to get into that. One of the things that was secure was that the NFL will be using Sony to mark first downs and where the ball was. So to now spot the ball, they'll be using some sort of technology in the ball, in scans, and in technology around the stadiums to now detect where the ball is spotted on the field. That will then replace the chain gang. The chain gang will still be there in limited capacity as a second kind of buffer. But again, that's the owners got together, the coaches got together in the past couple days. The tush push was announced that they were going to review to ban it. But today, after the tush push now has sources said that the tush push had enough support to get banned. Now today, the NFL said that they're going to kind of push the tush-push ban. They're going to push it forward a little bit, so they're delaying the ruling on that. But we'll see what happens there. Besides that, there was the Panthers reached an agreement for a one-year deal with running back Raheem Blackshear. So that's going to be a return to Carolina. Carolina's been making some moves in the offseason as well. Robert Kraft announced that former New England head coach Bill Parcells will be inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame. Falcons coach does not expect QB Kirk Cousins to be at OTAs. I'm not going to be foolish to think that he's going to show up for voluntary work. That's coming straight out of the Falcons coach's mouth. So there's been some rumors about Kirk Cousins, as well as there's been rumors about an attachment between the Browns and Dak Prescott. Nothing's been confirmed, but that is just something that has been rumored that is confirmed. If you see things going on online about Dak signing with the Browns or being traded, that's not true. But there are rumors, confirmed rumors, just not any confirmed deals yet, that the Browns are working with Dallas about a potential trade. NFL owners today passed a rule that both teams will be allowed to possess the ball in overtime in the regular season. So now, the original proposal was for a 15-minute overtime. That has been amended to 10 minutes. 10-minute overtime. Both teams will be allowed to possess the ball, so you can answer back. NFL owners also now have approved proposals to expand the league's replay assist system. Detroit's proposal to eliminate an automatic first down as a penalty imposed for defensive holding illegal contact did not pass. So Detroit proposed that an automatic first down would be eliminated for any defensive holdings or legal contact, but that was cut. That was not approved. NFL kickoff proposal was separated into 2 votes today. One passed, one was tabled. Number 1, the football now moves to the 35-yard line after a touchback. That passed. No vote at this time on the onside kick modification. It will pick back up at the meeting in May. They'll vote on that rule about the onside kick. They will also be talking about the tush push in May. So just kind of giving you guys a heads up. But with this touchback spot change, the NFL is now projecting an increase in the return rate from 33% to between 60 and 70%. We'll see. We shall see. I have a new comment. They said that the new overtime rule is interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. At first, it was first one to score got it, which meant that if you got the ball first, and that was for both regular season and overtime. Then the infamous Bills-Chiefs game, the playoff game where the Chiefs end up winning in overtime. The Bills were able to change that rule in the offseason to make sure that if it's a playoff game in overtime, both teams get to prove themselves on both sides of the ball. Same thing will be now happening in regular season. Thank you for the comment. I think it's interesting too. I think it's fair. I think both teams deserve it. Your fate in the game should not be coming down to a coin toss. Your game should not come down to a coin toss. Wow. And I agree with that. NFL has approved for 2 games to be played on Netflix and a Christmas nightcap on Amazon, all on Christmas Day. So 2 games during the day will be streaming on Netflix. 1 will be streaming on Amazon, all on Christmas Day. I really hope the Bills are not part of that. So the NFL owners, again, tabled the whole rule about, tabled until May, the whole rule about the tush push and about the onside kick. So we'll know more about that next month. 6-time Pro Bowl defense lineman Calais Campbell is finalizing a one-year deal to return to the Arizona Cardinals. All right, Cardinals defense is sprucing up. 1 year, $5.5 million. And besides all that, I will refresh this page real quick to make sure that I'm not missing any news while we've been talking. And check this out real quick. No, no news while we've been talking. No big blockbuster trades or anything. No big April Fool's pranks either on me. I'll admit, I almost fell for the April Fool's prank earlier today. Dak Prescott being traded to the Browns. I read it. I really thought it was true because there were rumors linked to it. So, but it's not true. The Buffalo Sabres are still tied, still up 2-0. So it's still the same score that it's been. It's the end of the first period. And the reason why the tush push got extended was tabled until May and kind of delayed. The Eagles owner said that every team needs to do research on the injury data, and this is his quote: "There isn't injury data. It's a precision play. It's a play available to every team in the league." That's his way of saying it's working for us. Why isn't it working for you? And there's really nothing here saying that people are prone to injury because of it. I'll let you guys think the way you want to about that. Of course, he's going to say that though because he's the owner of the Eagles, and they happen to do the tush push the best. So, real quick, in the last hour, we got news about Chris Cloutier. He is being placed on the injured reserve list. He got injured in a game, and now he's being placed on injured reserve list. So that is unfortunate news for the Buffalo Bandits. Hopefully he gets off that quickly, and we'll know more about that in a little bit to come. But losing Chris for just before the playoffs is not great. I hope he can come back before the playoffs. All right, guys. Well, with all that being said, I appreciate you all for coming on tonight. I appreciate all of you for your support. Make sure you check us out on all the social medias. You'll find them all down below. And make sure if you haven't already, you hit bell notifications on all those platforms so that you can get updates when we post. Not only that, but we are also on Spotify. It's not down there. I'll make sure to have it down there for you guys next week. I keep saying that, but trust me. And hey, as I'm ending the stream, 2-0, Sabres are up against Senators. Go Sabres, go Bills, go Bandits. I hope you guys have a great night. And I'm not even going to try to say anything clever. So everybody have a good night. Go Bandits, go Sabres, go Bills.